Well, hi everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back. This is not exactly like a return video like we wanted to, but there are some important things that have happened to us since we've been gone.
Yeah, probably.
So the reason we haven't posted, we've been basically dead for the past year
Super not alive.
is because I had a pretty serious problem with my health.
A medical problem.
So essentially, this time last year, I had a really bad toothache, which, long story short, I eventually got a diagnosis of something called aminoblastoma. Is that what it was called?
It basically meant that he had a tumor in his jaw/cheek, mostly jaw.
Yeah, and if you guys know nothing about that, that essentially meant that I had to undergo a pretty serious surgery. Having a tumor in my face definitely would interrupt a job like this, as you would imagine.
Yeah, it was growing, and literally you could see it on his face. Like, it was extending out of his face. It was so big.
Yeah.
My little swollen baby boy.
It looked pretty bad, and when I ended up getting it taken care of, the surgeon described it as the size of a baseball. It was gigantic, and it was in my jaw. So what ended up happening is I had a surgery in my face for the tumor to get removed, and I also lost a portion of my jaw, which had to be reconstructed.
Yeah, he's got metal in him now.
Yeah, now I'm like a cyborg and I get stopped at the airport, I assume.
Yeah,
I haven't done that
you
yet.
are actually going to make metal detectors go off, they told you.
Yep, and yeah, I don't know how else to elaborate on this other than it was hard, it was painful.
He spent a lot of time in the hospital. I was there with him the whole time. They described it as having his mouth wired shut for a few days. Even when he came back, he had wires in his mouth, and it was basically like, if you're squeamish, you probably don't want to hear this, but he had wires like connecting from his gums down to keep his mouth shut while
I was
the
healing.
initial healing happened, and I'm glad that those came off.
It was after like a week. I had him on for a week.
I can't imagine. I genuinely couldn't do that. Like, imagine you literally can't open your mouth. They gave him scissors and like pliers and shit in case of an emergency where he had to like open them himself, and he thought about it. I thought about it
only because
you
it was
were miserable.
Uncomfortable. But that was more so like if I threw up or something, then I wasn't like...
If he threw up, where is it going to go if his mouth is, shut?
We don't have to... honestly, I don't want to traumatize them too much.
Okay.
With the nitty gritty, but...
It could have been a lot worse, and it came out, and he's even, he's gone back. He's had his checkups. There's no reoccurrence or anything, so he's good. He's tumor-free, and now he just has to kind of deal with the leftovers of that.
Yeah, and I've been healing for 8 months now or something, and I'm not quite done yet. I am probably 80% healed, but that's plenty to be doing long form conversations again. I could not.
He can eat for sure.
I couldn't eat for a while. My diet was miserable. I don't even want to get into that, but
had to feed him with syringes. I was a good little wifey nurse, okay? I took good care of him, but it was very hard to see him go through that. I'm just glad you're done with it.
Me too. I couldn't talk for a while. At first, I couldn't, I'm not exaggerating. I had to talk like that, and then I moved on to talking like this, and then eventually I got my speaking back.
He had to kind of relearn how to move his jaw in a certain way, because from the joint, the very joint, underneath, the bottom of your ear, where your jaw connects to the upper part, they had to take that all out. He lost a very big portion of his jaw, but it has all healed wonderfully, and you wouldn't even be able to tell now. His scar is covered up by his beard for the most part.
Yeah.
And I'd say you're doing a lot better.
I am. And I think by the time I hit the 1 year mark, I will probably not have the muscle pain I have now. For a while, I just couldn't talk for a long time without starting to slur my speech. So if that is something that, like, comes up in the future, that's why. I have a disability now. I can't just talk. I have to consider these things now, basically. So the way we do our job is just going to be slightly different, but for the most part, there's some challenges on our side. That's why we've kind of been gone. And it seems like we haven't even considered coming back. And yeah, I think now we're just comfortable and we're ready.
We had a lot of plans to come back with some ideas, because we're always in the back, you know, trying to think of like what we can do to come back, like what people would want to see, what would make us happy.
We did record Let's Plays before my surgery when I could still talk. There was like a long period of time before the surgery where I was just under too much pain, but we just ended up not editing them. Just, I don't know. Something felt off about them, probably because of what the underlying stress. If you knew while you were watching those, like, that what we were going through, it would be like, holy shit, like, I can tell. That's kind of why we didn't edit them or like put them together, but we've gotten to a point where we're more comfortable getting back to it, and I think we have some ideas you guys will either really like or find...
Or you're gonna hate and you're gonna leave us forever.
Yeah, if you find it stale.
I'm sorry!
We're doing our best, but yeah, we're kind of rambling at this point, and we're about to hit the 10-minute mark, so we got our ad money. Cool. See you next time!